You are listening to the Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast, where you discover management insights and strategies for your successful dental practice. There are also interviews with key people in the industry who have advice and services to help you and your team achieve great success. Welcome to this episode of the Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast. And today we're talking about how dental practice owners and managers out there can make real good use of the slowed down pace over the next couple of weeks that is usually the case during the Christmas break. And to help me talk about this, I've got my buddy Ameena to join me again. How are you, Meenie?
Good, Julie. Good morning. I'm so excited to be talking about this. We've just had our goals achievement workshop last week, and now we're going to be talking about how to plan for your practice so that you have systems and processes in place in order to achieve your goals for this coming year in your practice. And there's nothing quite like having a plan, executing it, and kicking those goals for a successful year ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. And you're right, we have just gone through our goals achievement plan, and having the plan in place is really what helps us achieve our goals. And so the annual growth plan is a product that we developed, a year ago, maybe a bit longer, maybe even a bit longer, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, and it's such a powerful way for dental practices to achieve a completely different type of success for this coming year. And it does take a little bit of finding and data collection within your dental practice software and maybe accessing bookkeeper and accountant reports as well. But we'll go through for everyone exactly what the annual growth plan is all about, what we step people through so they can really start to understand how they can make enormous shifts in their dental practice in 2024.
To start, the annual growth plan course is an online course to help you make a plan for your practice for the upcoming year. And this is something that is crucial to making sure you're heading yourself and your team where you want to, in the direction that you want to be going for the year. And then also monitoring and revisiting this plan frequently throughout the year so you can steer yourself back on course where you might be wafting off, as we all do when we set goals and we have plans. We're like, okay, maybe I've had a bit too much wine, maybe I'm starting to eat too much crap, need to get back on track. And the same thing will happen in your business.
Yeah, that's true, because our worlds within dental practice, they get interrupted all the time. We get highly distracted just with the things that have to be done right now. There's always a patient right there about to be seen, or a team member that needs a conversation. And so we can very easily lose sight of the bigger picture because we're just dealing with the minutiae, because that's what's required of us every day.
Yeah.
So when we developed the annual growth plan, we really wanted to develop something that was unique to every dental practice, because every dental practice is different. They are open different hours. They provide different services. They have different numbers and performances of other practitioners within the practice itself. There are so many variables. So how could we make a plan for dental practices where it would really be customized per practice? And so, as you said, Meenie, this is an online course. It is available on demand, so you can start anytime. And what you'll find when you enter into it is that we're taking you on kind of a journey. And that journey is Sandy Roth's 6 magnificent questions. Sandy Roth is a dental practice educator and consultant and superstar in psychology around how to really well educate and communicate with team members and patients and really achieve a different level of success in dental practices. And she's a bit a mentor for me. And these 6 questions have been really, they're so brilliant in the identification of these 6 questions, because it's these 6 questions that once answered, they will create a plan for any kind of goal you have, whether it's personal or whether it's dental practice. But we are really focusing on dental practice growth in the annual growth plan.
And I think this time of year, hopefully a lot of you are having some downtime from the clinical side. Therefore, hopefully, I know you probably get 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, maybe an hour if a big a big appointment cancels, that you get to work on these things. But hopefully during this period is a time where you'll have some headspace to just think about the business side of things and where you're headed with all of that. You really do need headspace to be able to do this well, don't you? And I think if you can make that time over the holiday period, even if it's just a few hours, sit down, nut it out, have a plan, and some direction, you often feel a level of relief, and like your stress has been managed because you've got some clarity about where you're going and what that's all going to look like, and then get on with your holiday and festive season ready for a fresh start to the new year.
That's a really good point. It does make you feel like you've got a grasp of the coming year, a plan for the coming year, some control over the results that you're going to get. And they're all very well considered plans as well, because of the detail that we take people through within this annual growth plan. And so those 6 questions of Sandy Roth that are so magnificent are: where have we been? Where are we now? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? What role will each one of us play in getting there? And how are we going to track that we are actually getting there? And so the way this relays in the annual growth plan itself is, number one, we do focus on where you've been. And sometimes the past of a dental practice is highly relevant, and sometimes it's not as relevant. And I use the example that there was a practice that I've worked with in the past that really had some enormous disruption. There was a separation of the partners within the business itself, and a large team that then had to decide which partner they were going to end up moving with to the new location. There was a bunch of disruption around that, but then COVID hit and all the lockdowns hit as well. So that was another disruption. And so recognizing that they were, grew from a single practitioner practice up to quite large, then developed a partnership, and then have that partnership eventually diminish, and then separate, relocate, all the things. That all ends up with a picture of where you are right now, and there's a very good reason why you're in that space right now. So you imagine the mindset of the team members and of the owner themselves, and having to realign everyone and establish new goals moving forward. In that particular case, it was a relevant question: where have we been? However, if there's practices out there that have been running smoothly for 20 years, they've really had the same core set of team members for that length of time, then it may be a less relevant question. But certainly it's always worth asking the question, because sometimes it can provide clues about why we are where we are right now, which is, of course, the second question: where are we now? We always have to start with this question. We have to determine, what are we turning over? What hours are we open? What services are we providing? In essence, what tools and resources do we have right now that is then feeding our results and feeding the outcome that we've achieved to date? Where are we right now? And so we take practices through what your current expenses are, what your productivity for all your services right now, what your productivity for each of your providers is right now. So we can get a very clear picture of, this is what we're starting with. And that's important, isn't it, Meanie? I mean, whenever we go into consulting programs with clients, we always start there. Send us through all of your documentations and your reports so we can know exactly where we're starting from.
Yeah, and I mean, you can measure from that point what your success is moving forward. The other things, that starting point is, where are we now? If the answer is we love where we are now, it's perfect, then why change? Why fix what's not broken, kind of thing. So, yeah. Which is probably a rarity that people would say that we're exactly where we want to be and we don't want to improve any further. So, but yeah, it's important to know where, to identify where we're at now and identify where we're going, where we want to go, so that we can create the plan in between.
Yeah, that's it. And that leads into that next question: where are we going? So what is the vision of the practice? We take people through the vision of the practice, and recognizing that there is a potential to design your own daily routine, weekly routine, monthly routine, the way things are going to operate every day. We address and have a good look at and get people very aware of all the areas of financial influence that they have within their business as well. So much of running a dental practice and improving in elements of turnover, growth, culture, all the things requires an awareness around business knowledge on how to run any business. And, you know, when we study dentistry, we study dentistry. We don't study an MBA. And quite often to go back to university and study an MBA is quite onerous for dentists, you know, when they've every hour they take away from the surgery is impacting on their turnover. But we're providing them with the tools that they require in order to grow their dental practices within the annual growth plan. And so we do go through all the areas of financial influence that they do have. We project out the expenses using your own profit and losses. We project out what your expenses are going to be for the coming year, and recognizing that this is where we're going. This is our turnover goal. This is our ideal operation goal. These are our projected expenses, and everything is customized to that practice. Now we can identify what the required revenue is going to have to be. And so addressing that where are we going question, that is in essence, these are the goals for 2024. And they're reasonable goals because they're based on your particular data in your dental practice. And then the next question, how are we going to get there? Which is all around identifying the strategies with your unique practice, with all the information that you've now determined for your practice and identified what is going to be, what are the strategies that are available to us in order to get us to those goals. The how-to is what are the strategies that we're going to be able to implement that we can then break down into tasks and things. But for example, a turnover increase, one strategy could be to increase the fees. That's a very quick way of doing it. And if you haven't increased the fees for a number of years, another way of increasing turnover, though, is more of a soft skills thing. We're going to start communicating with our patients more effectively, take a little bit more time with that, or provide them with more resources, do it in a more elegant way. And so we are actually improving our treatment plan conversion rate. And so we are starting to identify strategies that aren't so much purely business oriented, where we're just increasing the fees, but we need team member involvement as well. And what do we, every result that we get within a dental practice is a culmination of all of the efforts of each of those team members.
That's right. It certainly is, a team effort. Everyone plays a role in the success of a dental practice. But the leadership is really important in making that happen and in making everyone motivated for that type of success, or seeing even the potential for that type of success to be motivated in the first instance is a thing as well. So yeah. I think particularly, we might have practice managers and things like that, but I think going through this type of exercise like the annual growth plan course, it's online, it's on demand. You can reach out to support to Julie and I, when needed. But going through this process yourself and really understanding in your own mind what affects your business, what decisions you need to make, will create that thorough understanding in your mind and the clarity to be able to lead the team and execute these ideas with confidence.
That's right.
I think it's a really important journey. And the other benefit of going through this, the more frequently you do this, and you will have access to this course content forever. So you can, not only are you paying for it to do it this year, but you can revisit this every year. This is just a no-brainer tool that every practice owner should have. And you should be revisiting it during the year as well. You can share the process with your practice manager if you like, and work on things together if that is helpful as well. So it is definitely a guidance tool that will be used over and over again. You can use it in your own time, whenever, it suits you. And it will really help you to understand the functions behind your practice and what makes it really tick.
Oh, for sure. That's right. That's right. So just coming back to those questions that we're being guided throughout this annual growth plan, the how are we going to get there? This is where we have got all of these downloads and templates that you can complete. We've got the goals achievement process. That's where you have your goal, you've listed down your strategies, and now you're breaking it down into all the tasks. It allows you to delegate these tasks to particular people within this document and then put deadlines and tracking. So you're making it as straightforward as possible. Everyone understands what to do, and you've got this way of tracking it moving forward as well. So what KPIs are we going to be able to source to make sure that we are actually achieving success in these particular areas? We also talk about pre-blocking the appointment book. This is a big part of how we're going to get there. This is a big part of planning for the goals actually in the appointment book. So what ends up happening in that appointment book gives us what we want.
That's right. And it's amazing how just a couple of little tweaks, can be thousands and thousands of dollars every year.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. The next question of what role each one of us play in getting there, we give some hints around delegation and how team members actually think, what drives their behavior and motivation. And so we can, each one of us within that dental team, we can truly understand what role we have to play in the achievement of the goals within the annual growth plan. And usually we talk about the role that each person plays in a dental practice, liken it to, a football team, for example, that you've got all of these players running around on the football oval and you need every single one. And the minute one's out, that team performance as a whole starts to go down. But just recently, Charles took me along to the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra for they were doing Hans Zimmer, the composer, his music, which was just magnificent. And I looked at this Melbourne Symphony Orchestra with all of the violins and double basses and trumpets and percussion and all the elements to it. And all together, they make this magnificent, beautiful music. And they've been very careful to put in the right number of violins, the right number of this, the right number of that. And the culmination of those efforts ends up being with this beautiful performance. So do think about your team members in that way. And just like in the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, everyone has the music in front of them for their particular instrument. And that's what we need to provide our team members. We need to provide them with the clarity around their expectations, their performance for their particular role within the practice.
That's right. And I think just getting, motivating people and keeping them engaged and all these sorts of things. If they're excited about what they do and they're led by somebody who's excited about what they do, it'll all come together.
It does all come together. You're right. And then that final question, how will we make sure that we're getting there? So we provide ways, methods, tools to track your performance all the way through the year. And so if we set a goal at the very start of the year and then found out whether we were successful or not at the end of the year, that's kind of useless, because if we're not on the mark, we've been going backwards or we've been going off the mark for months and months and months. We need to check in every single month, and we provide a very elegant process for doing that. And it doesn't take a lot of time. This is the interesting thing, isn't it? We think all of this stuff's going to take so much time. It really doesn't. We know what KPIs we're tracking. The receptionist or practice owner or practice manager gathers those for the monthly meeting. We can spend 15 minutes talking about this is what the results have been with our KPIs. Are we moving forward? Are we achieving our goals? Do we need to modify any of our strategies or tasks? Following up, did everyone do what they were supposed to do? It doesn't need to take very long. And we've got the goals achievement plan worksheet for people to be able to use that as a key document that is continually added to throughout the year and brought to each of those monthly meetings. And we tell you how to have these meetings in a very effective and powerful way. So they are a source of inspiration moving forward. So we really do encourage dental practices, think outside the box. If you're not quite sure what your practice could possibly achieve, within this annual growth plan, we've got Excel documents with formulas and things like that. So you can really customize what could we achieve given the availability of practitioners in this particular practice, the types of services that we do roll out in this practice. If we did a couple of things differently, what financial impact would that have on our turnover? We provide all of that for you. It's on demand, so you can do it at night, in the morning, today, tomorrow, next month, every year. As you were saying, I think that's a magnificent idea. It just becomes a tool that you do every single year. We're going to have a finance and growth meeting every January, for example, with key members of your team. Could include your accountant, your bookkeeper as well. And so you've got that plotted plan moving forward over the year. But you and I are available anytime. The minute anyone has any troubles with this, we've got links to jump on a Zoom call with us, and we can take you step by step through the process or any part of the process that you need.
Absolutely. And it's such an exciting exercise.
Yeah.
Going through this, and it'll highlight to you things that you probably haven't even thought about for a while. You may not have had the time to think about it in the headspace. And it can be quite exciting and fun.
It can be exciting and fun.
Mm.
So if you are interested in finding out more about the annual growth plan, please do go to the link within the show notes. You can also just go to our website, dentalbusinessmastery.com.au, and then go to the online courses. In the drop-down box, you've got annual growth plan right there. You can start immediately if you would like to, and we do encourage you to. This is a wonderful time of year. Transition from one year to the next. Brains naturally go to a space of what do I want to achieve in 2024, considering this is what I achieved in 2023. And it's a natural space because you've got a bit of time for reflection, contemplation, and planning. So take advantage of this lovely little unique yearly opportunity that we get to utilize our downtime in a useful way for the coming year.
Perfect. We hope that you enjoy the annual growth plan should you choose to embark on that journey.
Fantastic. Thanks, Meenie, again. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon on the podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, then I encourage you to head over to Ameena and my website, dentalbusinessmastery.com.au. You will find all the information that you need if you would like to gain our assistance in helping you and your team achieve great success. We've got online courses, consulting programs, the club membership. We also have a whole bunch of tools and resources that are available for free that will help you achieve your practice goals. If you would like to find out more, you can also email us directly at info@dentalbusinessmastery.com.au. Thanks so much for listening.